consumers' equilibrium. Consumer theory states that we may deduce customers' preference from their consumption decisions. You buy many goods and services to satisfy your needs and wants. For example, getting a new pair of shoes from Nike, a hamburger at Burger King, or services like having your house cleaned by tidying. Consumption is the use of goods and services to satisfy needs or wants. An economic agent who buys the product or service is known as the consumer. However, what is the consumer's motivation behind buying any good or services? The crucial motivation is to maximize their satisfaction from consuming goods and services purchased by spending their income at the given market price. Now, you will dive deeper into consumer behavior and understand how consumers decide to purchase different products and services. In the following video, Professor Chris Oz will explain the factors that affect a consumer's buying decisions and how they can be modeled. In the video, you learn that before making a purchase decision, consumers consider the following two key factors: budget and preference. So, in the video, you learn that before making a purchase decision, consumers consider the following two key factors. The number one is budget, and the second is preference. Next, you will learn about two economic models: the budget line and the indifferent curve. The budget line and the indifferent curve. The budget line and the indifference curve. Okay. Next, you learn about two economic models: the budget line and the indifference curve. Budget line. In economics, a budget constraint or budget line reflects on combinations of goods and services that customers can buy within their income given the current price. A budget line shows the trade-off between consuming two goods. If you observe the budget line of two products, you will notice that the slope of the line represents the rate at which the consumer is willing to substitute the goods represented by the x-axis with the goods represented by the y-axis. Therefore, the slope of budget line is also called the marginal rate of constitution, or you can call it the M or S. Indifference curve. An indifferent curve is a model that represents consumers' preferences. The different points of a single indifference curve give the consumer the same utility. Indifference curves can have many different shapes, and each has its significance. L-shaped indifference curve, where the goods are perfect complements. Convex indifference curve, when the consumers choose the substitute in place of another product, rather than simultaneously consuming more. Most common and applicable to most real-life cases. A straight line indifference curve, when the goods are perfect substitutes. Now that you have an understanding of budget constraints and indifference curve, you will learn about how they come together to reach consumer optimum. A combination of goods that is affordable and provides maximum satisfaction to the consumer. So let's watch the upcoming video and learn about it. In the video, you learn that consumers decide to buy a combination of goods when the budget constraint is tangential to an indifference curve. You also learn that indifferent curves are always parallel to each other, and the farther apart an indifference curve is from the origin or in the first quadrant, the better the utility. The budget constraint line touches the indifference curve at only one point, known as consumer equilibrium. This point represents the combination of goods that a consumer can afford that also provides the highest level of satisfaction. Now suppose the consumer's income level or the price of the product or the service changes. How will the consumer's purchase decision change in this case? In the following video, you will learn how budgets, constraints, and indifference curves help consumers make purchase decision. Okay? In the video, you learn that with a change in the spending power of consumer, the quantity of goods demanded by the changes. You also learn how the quantity demanded shift if the price of one of the goods decrease. Such a price change indicates the following. A drop in the relative price of an item makes consumers more likely to purchase it compared to other options. This is called the substitution effect. If the consumer is earning more than before, and if they continue with their earlier level of consumption, they will have a higher portion of their income to spare. Therefore, they can spend more on goods. This is called the income effect. Finally, you will learn how the demand curve is derived from these decisions. Let's explain how we derive the demand curve using the substitution and income effects. When rents decrease, demand for rental properties go up. Substitution effect. Here, a drop in rent implies that consumers' purchasing power has increased, and they have more to spend on food and rent. Income effect. So, a decrease in rent, the price of rental income will increase the demand for rental properties. Hence, the demand curve is downward sloping. Hence, the demand curve is downward sloping, as stated by the law of demand. Now attempt the following assessments to test your understanding of the segment. Okay? Like that. Thank you.